It's just gonna let the stream run by itself. Yeah, sorry, Anna. Somebody knocked at the door. You couldn't hear that, but it was Rhiannon, and she had questions about her summer research project. So, you know, I just let the Pinularia do the talking for me, and then, you know, what would you like to see? If not Pinularia. Really, I was just trying to use this Pinularia's little tiny stride to, or pores to tweak my focus. It's from the pond at my mom's house. So this is the sample that has the Spichetacrybra in it. And I got here a little bit later than usual, so I'm off to sort of a slow start. But we're making it work. No wobble. So yeah, I don't know what kind of Pinularia they are to species, but there's a bunch of them in here. And thought it might be nice to take a look at those and the Spichetacrybra, which is something that is kind of an unusual centric. It's a chrysophyte cyst. You've also seen some of those in here. It's another chrysophyte cyst. You love how the SEM Cyclotella get used to it? You know that when people move something from one genus to another, doesn't mean that we have to accept it. We're allowed to say no. Yeah, the SEM is pretty cool. You can see right into this one. See what they look like on the inside as well. This is another Pinularia. It's a diatom. And there's another Pinularia over here. Oh, this is actually my mom's pond, not the neighbor's pond. So this one doesn't actually have the Spichetacrybra, but that's in this set. So if you're super interested in seeing it, we can jump to that, Anna. I just thought I'd look around a little and maybe take some pictures for what's in here. And it seems like it's mostly Pinularias. Look at this giant guy. What's on the other end? I think it's just a big pinule area. That's a really big diatom. It's 200 microns across. It's monster-sized. Wonder if there's one in valve view that we could find. That's a star anise. An internal view. And another one. So typical sort of acidic dystrophic environment. It's a phytolith fragment. This might be that monster that we saw. In valve view. Oh, it's a giant Nidium. Yeah? "200-micron long Nidium." If we could find one that's not broken or covered with junk. Let's try the other stub. There's another one. Girdle view, though. That's just a giant star anise. Girdle band's a little ugly, but let's rotate it around.
Daddy is cute, Daddy is strong, Daddy is brave, and Daddy will not stop.
Let's see. Yeah, it was full of duckweed and other stuff. Oh, Pacific, thank you for the subscription. I didn't even hear it. Presumably it did something cool. And thanks for the cheer, Rams. Let's give a shout out to Pacific Plankton. And to Rams Reef. Not sure what that... Why this is doing what it's doing. Hang on. Totally messed up chamber view. Not sure why I was doing that. It's my speaker configuration. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm new to the Twitch, and this reminds me of a slot machine. A little bit. Okay. The emotes that were exploding all over the place are I added new. And also I've had a bunch of hidden secret words you can say that will cause emotes to pop up on the screen as well. Somebody's already found a few of them. Without realizing it, I think. There you go, you found one. Actually, Diatoms should work too. I'm not sure why that one wasn't. Oh, it did. It just popped up underneath something, I think. Really big diatom, a really tiny grain of rice. It's a really big diatom. This one is star anise. The name comes from the structure here in the middle of the valve, where there's no striae, which is called a staros. It looks like a little cross when it's blended together with the sternum. So this sort of structure here looks like it's a cross. And so early microscopists referred to it, as a staros. And we've just kept that language, this sort of cross section here in the middle. And then it's got rows of uniseriate striae, which are characteristic for star anise, and then they're not always diamond shaped or kite shaped, but this one is. Many of them are. Oh, Nidium. There you go. And this one is star anise. My chamber view back. Not sure why it did that, but I had replaced the chamber view with my speaker configuration because OBS does things. This is GAW, a star anise. So this is a girdle view of a pinnularia, and then I think this one is a another Nidium. So Nidium are usually identified by the fact that their proximal raphe ends hook in opposite directions. And then they've got axial canals and all kinds of other things. Similar to star anise, they have uniseriate striae. That's a eunotia. Eunotia are identified by the fact they have little short raphes that go from the valve face onto the mantle, onto the side of the diatom. This is another star anise. Again, you can see here's the raphe, and where the raphe end, there's a section with no striae on it. And inside the diatom, it's usually a little thicker than normal, and there's additional silica that was added to the middle part. So you can see this one is asymmetric. So the raphe is here, and then it's slightly eccentric, or it's off to one side of the valve slightly. It's not exactly down the middle, but it's close. And then one side is a little bit more rounded than the other. And this is what we would usually refer to as the dorsal side, and this is the ventral side. So just like a whale or a dolphin, there's a back and a belly, although that's not truly their back or their belly, but that's how we refer to them. And then these striae are slightly lineolate. This is the raphe, the terminal end of the raphe. And it depends on which way the raphe ends go, usually for whether it's cymbella or encynema. These ones deflect towards the dorsal side, which suggests that it belongs with the cymbelloids rather than encynema. And the sort of shape of it and the lack of apical pore fields means it's probably a cymbopleura. Oh, that's weird. I guess I set it so it's just moderators that can do that. I could make you a moderator, Anna, if you want to be a virtual janitor. I can set you up. How's it going, Shafard? I haven't caught your grasshopper yet, so I cannot put your micro authority to use yet, but I will. The glamorous job you got, yeah. You're the person with all the keys, specific. Hey, it's Dell. Hey, Dell, check this out. It would have been better if you'd have spelled awesome correctly, Pacific Plankton. It's a pinnularia. Here's an internal view of a pinnularia. You can see they have these little circular windows and a huge axial plate. Covers over all of the chambers on the inside where the costi are. Another chrysophyte cyst. Here's the aperture, or the opening where the chrysophyte goes in and out. Some more. Those are all, these little round things are all chrysophyte cysts. Like a long, skinny eunocia. It's like bilunaris or something. I don't remember the names of my eunocia very well. It's another star anise. You can see the internal structure on this one instead of the outside. One advantage the SEM has over the light microscope is things have insides and outsides. So that's the raphe. Here's the staros, this little bow tie structure. You can see it's a little bit thicker than the surrounding components. There's another giant Cymbopleura. I want maybe... Sometimes Cymbopleura have very intricate areolae. The ones that we usually find, sort of like Cymbella mexicana, they have these sort of really, they look like letters or glyphs or TIE fighters sometimes. This one does not. This one just has simple lineolate-like striae for the most part. Don't pay you to spell. That's fair. Looks like a tiny submarine. A little bit. Chrysophyte cysts are pretty. The ones that are in these samples are actually kind of plain bit. If you Googled them and you Google like SEM chrysophyte cyst, you'll find a lot of them, and there's a bunch of really ornate structures and patterns to them. They're pretty cool. The doctor removed your chrysophyte cyst? Okay. Mom says you're pretty on the inside. It's probably true. Time to get a new body. This is a nice specimen. It's got a little bit of junk on it, and then it's got some of this corrosion or something going on here around the outside edges. The girdle bands are broken, but you know, close enough. The pinnularia looks like a sub, yeah. Well, it is like a little bit like the magic school bus here. You have another lifer. Oh, you found another new diatom? You keeping your diatom list? I feel like my life list would be super long. Unreasonably long. Life list of diatoms, yeah. I think Anna's keeping one. Oh, Pacific, can you give Studio Cornix her Instagram a link in the channel? This is Cymbopleura again, nice species 2. stick that on there. And let's see what else we can find in here before I move to the next sample. So I collected these samples while I was home visiting my family. I think I told that story like 1,000 times already. There's a nice, clean star anise. Go ahead and take that photo. It's a close-up of the star anise central area. Hey Marmot, how's it going? Yeah, for my channel, the Instagram is just IG. Studio Cornix is a artist, and you should check out their Instagram. They do algae and such art. I was just learning about how it's likely that it wasn't the rats that were responsible for the plague during Europe during the Black Plague, but rather the marmot. Marmots brought it in with gerbils? I thought it was mostly the fleas. With the fleas on the rats, and the gerbils and the marmots. Yeah, where were the fleas hosted? Yeah. All kinds of things. So I saw that the Molecular Life of Diatoms conference is starting. It started today, and it's being hosted by, it's digital only this year. It's being hosted by Andy Allen and Scripps Oceanographic Institute. And they're using my SEM images for their conference, like the book that they publish is going to have my SEM images on it, and also the conference web page loading screen things they used all of my art. I gave them a bunch of my SEM images that I'd colorized, and I think that's the link. So that's pretty cool. I usually don't make it into the artist section of a conference. I'm usually a presenter or something, but they took all of my colorized SEM images and they just sort of did things with them. And I think they said they were going to host a bunch of them on their webpage, but I haven't actually been to their webpage to see. But the conference is like the next 3 days. So It was pretty cool that they're using my images. And the guy that's in charge of that conference, Andy Allen, said that he was a big fan of my SEM stuff, and that's why they decided to use them. So I'm popular with the Diatom people, usually. So most of this sample was collected mostly in duckweed and a little bit of mud, and you can see there's a lot of the, it's been processed in nitric acid to get rid of the organic stuff, so you're seeing mostly detrital fragments, and rinsed several times to get rid of the acidic supernatant fluids, and also to get rid of the clay. For the most part, we managed to get rid of the clay. So, let's hop over and look at the other sample. So this was my mom's forested little shallow pond. It's maybe 1 meter deep and filled with duckweed and very isolated, with woods basically entirely surrounding it. It's like a little diatom and its chrysophyte friend. Let's take this picture and then we'll jump over to the other pond, which is the one that was at. It's not very far away from this one, but it's on my mom's neighbor's property. This is a Nidium. It's got the raphies that hook in opposite directions, and that's a chrysophyte. Stomatocyst. It's not the whole organism, it's what it hides in, for the most part. And I think I want to rotate it just a little, but I picked the wrong way. A diatom and its friend. And then we'll take this and then we'll jump over to the other sample. And then I also have some samples from White Sands on here. So White Sands National Monument, that my friend Nicole sent me. And I've been imaging some of that stuff, but I wanted to try to get a lot more of it done. So, let's see. Oh, there's a link to the actual images. Very cool. Oh, does it, it's a photo carousel. Does it change every time? Oh no, it's just those three. But if you go to the actual web page, it'll play. If you click on the link on the page, it'll play through all of the photos. So that's cool. Very neat. Should probably check out things after people, like, you know, use my artwork. I'm gonna miss the conference, which is a bummer. I'm about to leave camp to go to the Olympic National Forest in an hour. Oh, okay. Cool. Sounds really nice. Oranges and showerhead diatoms. I mean, they're all like that, right? So you're doing a lot of traveling, Studio Cornix. Yes, SEM and chill. That's what I should call my stream. Just SEM and chill. That's what we do here. We just sort of hang out and relax. Kuro Samato, hello. We're doing well. We're just hanging out, you know, together while I look at stuff in the SEM and show it to people. Quit your job and you're taking a sabbatical. Kudos. I would quit my job, but it's got this SEM attached to it. Sort of keeps me here. My job's okay most of the time, yeah. I do more than just take pictures on the SEM. Sometimes my life is pretty hectic, but yeah, most of the time it's pretty cool. IM and Chrysophyte cyst. Okay, let's take a little tour and go to the next lake over. Just spin this thing around. And first thing you'll notice is there are a lot of Cerulella on this sample, and also it's a little bit dirtier where we are. But there's this. I don't know what this is. I don't know what species it is, but it's the genus is Cerulella. That's Cerulella. Cerulella. These are all Cerulellas, and then there's some little Cerulellas in here as well. These are really big. And there's a bunch of these long skinny things, which are probably Nitzia, but we'll take a look. Just want to try to find a place that's not so crusty, so we can get some nice flat surfaces. And then let's take a look at this. Definitely a Nitzia. If you look right here, you can see the fibulae, which are these little struts that are connected to this thing out here, which has got the raphe on it. It's sort of like a little keel. And then striae running across the whole valve face. These little guys here are chain-forming diatoms. And I'm not looking at them straight onto the valve face, so I'm not sure exactly which ones. And then we've got some star anise, and I think that's a Curticula. Definitely Curticula. So in the SEM Curticula are very distinct. They always have this sort of an appearance. Raphes have a sort of, or their sternum are sort of really pronounced. And then this one actually has sort of like a furrow next to the raphe even. And then the striae are like in a grid, basically, such that they're in rows this way and this way. And then they're boat-shaped, so, and they end in little balls at the end of the terminal ends of the raphe on the inside, rather than being hooks. So that one's a pretty one, but it's a little fractured. There's something else up here. Maybe a very large anomalies. Yeah, that's an anomalies. You can see it's got a little runway, a landing strip, on each side of the raphe, and then these little dots that are running out are the striae, which are uniseriate little dots, penticulate. So that's Anomalies. There's a nice big Cerulella. This is the one that I don't actually recognize this to species. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. Always with diatoms, when you think you're looking at a surface that's relatively simple in the SEM, it becomes much more complicated. It's actually covered with holes. Slow it down so you can actually see them. And then I'll fix the brightness because it's a little over brightened on the outside edge. This is the raphe end right here that you see coming into the middle. And then they run in sort of a track that goes around here. This is the internal view. Doing a lot of work over there with the links. Do I enjoy teaching? Yeah, most of the time I do. The grading part I don't like, but educating people I enjoy. Mentoring I usually enjoy, and especially like teaching in the field or in the lab. But even just in front of a classroom is still fun, so. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Oh, we're looking at a Nitzia. Back then. We're looking at diatoms. Gamer KB. We'll find some more anomalies, so I'll zoom in on one of those as well. I didn't add it. Capigen, is that in here? I find it grating. Her. Yeah. Mallory likes to grade stuff. We won the jackpot of diatoms. I'm not sure my mentees are watching the stream, but usually it's fun. A lot of times it's rewarding, but sometimes it's also challenging. So, why do the only two plankton diatom channels I follow on Twitch have hosts with the most soothing, mellifluous voices? I don't know, Llama, but I'm assuming your other channel that you go to is specific planktons. But I would actually argue that if you went to Dell's channel, his voice is also pretty soothing. Doesn't spend as much time on the microscope as he used to, but and also OpenSet is has a pretty soothing voice. So, you know, you can maybe follow some more of the microscope streamers here. There's a bunch of them. You don't think that yelling and whining improves it? I don't know. Maybe the Diatom people are just relaxed people. I don't know. This is this guy. The community's full of laid-back people, and I think it helps me be laid back as well. But I was pretty laid back to start with, so maybe you are onto something, I don't know. Maybe there's a type. Like chilled, relaxed people like Diatoms because they're, in the group of things they find interesting naturally. It's Criticula. Okay, this one's nice. We're gonna get this one. I want 190, 195. Sorry, I had to do math to rotate things. And I wanted to get it at 45-degree angle, so I did an okay job. Surfaces of this are just a little bit crusty, but you won't be able to see that from where we zoom to, so that'll be okay. It'll look good like this. It's got pinstripes. It's a very neat diatom. It's Criticula. Criticular characteristically have these like lineations that run along the valve this way, as well as having their striae be basically, like I said, orthorhombic or grid-like. And then when they're in dry conditions or very salty conditions, they'll sometimes create a structure which is called a Criticula. So that's where the name for the genus comes from, or vice versa. It's like talking to plant cells, yeah. A soothing voice does make the SEM work better. If you're frustrated with your SEM, it's definitely better to calm it down. Hey Chippy Flip, how's it going? There's a calm to the sort of waiting for an SEM to develop. So also, SEM and microscope time is like my happy time. I mean, not that I'm not always happy, but like they're the best parts of the job, really. So I do my best to enjoy them. I can go be stressed out any other time, but not when I'm on the SEM and not when I'm on the microscope. It's sort of my Zen time. In the same way on the light microscope, actually, really, like, it's very calming to me, so. Zen and the art of microscopy. should write a book. Just a picture book, though. Yeah, it's very meditative. I used to count, like, well, I still do, but used to count all the time for diatom analysis, and people would be like, how can you just spend like 6 or 7 hours on a microscope? And I'm like, put my headphones on, you know, start counting, and then I come out of it whenever I feel like I've had enough. It's just a total meditation. Okay, this is Cuticula. Also, we have had other diatomists on the stream before. My former student Joe and Mark were both on, and I feel like they also have very calming voices. And Anna was on our stream on the one of the early ones, and I think she also has a nice voice. It's two Cerulellas side by side. That's nice. Mostly clean. This is Cerulella. It used to be Smetapleura, this group, but it's Cerulella. And it's probably some form of Cerulella labrile, which would have been Smetapleura cilea back in the day. I've been bouncing around at sort of like a really high level here, at the very high level. But there's a bunch of really cool things when you zoom in on this sample. Just trying to find some cool, the big things that are cool first, and then we'll zoom in a little bit and take a look at some of the cool things. One of the very cool, very small things in this sample, which I was excited to find on the light microscope, is Spicatacrybra, and this is the sample where it occurs. And it's the only place I've ever found it. So just the other day was the first time I'd ever seen it, and I wasn't actually completely sure that's what it was, because I'd only seen pictures. So a first time viewing of it. There's a little chrysophyte down there. It's a smaller... No, it's not that small. Everything we've been looking at is so big. This looks kind of small. It's actually not that small. I went the wrong way. Field of view is something like 90 microns. And it's a little dark because we've been zoomed way out, which has a little bit more brightness for the SEM typically. So I'm going to slow it down, and then I'm going to brighten it. Alright, Studio Cormix, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking out my stream. Your voice is not calming? I think so. It's fine, Anna. Everybody's critical of themselves. Joe's doing fine, I think. I haven't heard from him since summer started, basically. But I think he would tell me if things weren't fine. That's gonna look good. Just go ahead and take that. And while it's collecting the image, I can come see whatever's going on in chat. We need to get Anna back on stream. I agree. Do you have any recommendations for first microscope? Yeah. Pacific and I carry this conversation on all the time with people when they come into our channels. Generally speaking, I think it just depends on what you're trying to do, like Pacific Plankton is saying. So if you just want to, if you just want to look at water bears and larger things like zooplankton, you don't need to get a very fancy microscope for that. If you're going to stream it, or you're going to take pictures, or you're going to do something a little bit more than just kind of look at stuff, I would just get something kind of cheap, in your budget. So I think that's the other thing that comes into play. If you're not trying to do something professional with it, or you're not trying to do something research related with it, then just whatever your budget can manage is probably going to be good enough. All the microscopes in my lab currently are Leica or Zeiss, but I've also used Olympus, and those are the three sort of big brands for research microscopes, and I find that they're all really good. But if you just wanted to be operating on the next level down, pretty much any of those microscopes are pretty decent for low level microscope kind of magnification. Yeah, I think that like Dell's microscope it's definitely good enough. You can see stuff. I don't think you'll ever run out of cool things to look at that level. I don't think you'll regret that. Fold scope, yeah, if you just wanted to have a little paper microscope to take in the field with you, highly useful. So you just put a drop of water and right in the field look at it for almost no cost. If you're getting something for your kids, or you're getting something that you wanted to have battery power for some reason, those are all things to take into consideration. So that's anemones. This little tiny guy right here is Spicata cribra, which Anna was trying to make me call a cyclotella, but I refused to. It doesn't have any of the characteristics of a cyclotella, other than being round and maybe a few other things that are shared with the entire family of the Lasiocyrales. See if I can do something about this. So from the outside, it looks like it just has a bunch of big holes in the middle, bigger holes than usual. On the inside, it has really intricate cribra, which is where it gets its name from. They are not round like everything else that has a cribra that belongs to this group, except for like the Thalassiocyra. And other than that, they have Manta photoportula, they have a Brummiportula, no valve face photoportula, just cribra on the valve face. It's pretty flat on the inside, and these big openings. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. But definitely doesn't look like it belongs in Cyclotella. Close relative, yeah. So, if you just get a microscope that has a phototube, that's the way that I roll, and then I just use my own camera, my digital camera, as the connecting piece, and then it has just a mini HDMI to HDMI out, which then plugs into a camera card, which goes right into my computer. So, you know, if you already have a digital camera and it has some sort of an HDMI out, that's an easy way to stream from it. Or if you get something like the DynoCam, the cameras, I think, are built right into those, right? What's going on, Derp? Chill Network, trying your hardest not to throat punch people. If you need some calm, you've come to the right place. I don't know what you do at work, but unless it's MMA, probably you shouldn't be throat punching people. It's about to be lunch. I still haven't eaten today at all. It's the way things go some days. This is Spicatacribra external. See how tiny that little guy is compared to everything else that we were looking at in the sample. So maybe 10 microns or something across. I think it goes up to 30. And I'm pretty sure this one is Kingstonite, but it might be something new. See these giant diatoms, and that little tiny thing was like a speck next to them. Probably if you were to count this sample, these Spicatacribra would be one of the more common things you'd find in it. Here's an internal view. same diatom we were just looking at from the outside, and this is what it looks like on the inside. And you can see these are the Mantophotoportula, these little holes. And then that one's, I think, the Rimoportula. Yeah. And then the Cribra are really bizarre. They're making this sort of like web structure. This one's got a lot of junk covering it. So, can't really see the Cribra on that one. Say Cementopleura, well, Zerorella. Slightly bigger one. So the surface of this one's a little bit cleaner. And the width is about 15 microns. And I thought I saw another one like right over here. And something else right there. Yeah. This one looks like maybe it's a little bit bigger. I think their maximum size is like 30 for Kingston Eye or something like that. Maybe it's even smaller. This one is 20, about 20 microns wide. There's a little Discostella hiding in the background. I think there's another Discostella that was hiding over here. Right there. Yep, little tiny Discostella. You can see the really clearly see the external expression of the Mantophotoportula, which is a little bit harder to see in the other ones. So they're kind of crusty. I do crisis management and emergency response for a chemical processing company. Oh boy. But you could get a decent microscope for under $100. And you could always just give us if you want to just talk about it in Discord, we can talk about it in Discord through the chat if you'd like. Yeah, so normally the features people would look for just depends on what they're planning to do with it. For me, on the research end, I usually want differential interference contrast, which puts the microscope immediately into like the $10,000 to $20,000 range. But I'm kind of a diatom snob, and I like to have differential interference contrast. It's useful for distinguishing some aspects of diatoms, and also I'm spending research money for it, so usually I have to write a grant or something like that to get the instrument I want. Most people don't have access to those sorts of things or an SEM, so sort of curious if you could tell which one was the Rumiportula from the outside. All of these are very evenly spaced. Normally the Rumiportula is like between two Photoportula. Maybe it's this thing. Okay. I don't know. We can keep looking around a little bit in the sample. That's what we do. I think I have another one from the same material. That might be a nice valve view where you could see the internal structure a little bit better. Oh, it's got clay in there. We won't see anything. You can see that the valve face is very flat though. And there's the Rumiportula. This one is again only about 10 or 12 microns across. You can tell it's creticular right away. And another Sororella, and a Sororella over here, and a Sororella down there. Lots of them. Here's another Nitzia. And I think that's another Criticula. Sororella behind it. Or no, another Criticula behind it. And that's a Nitzia. Hop over to 4, see if there's anything good in that one. Bunch of the same stuff, of course. It's from the same sample. Most of the samples from this lake actually had, in both lakes, because they're small, they're ponds, had basically the same stuff in them. There was a little bit more Sororellas and things in these than some of the others. It's a little S-shaped guy. junk all over the middle of the valve, but see, it's shaped sort of like a Sigma or a Dairy Queen logo. You have a Dairy Queen near you, and it's summer. I think this is Ctenophora, which is kind of interesting. Usually found in saltier systems. I don't think I've ever seen one of these in the SEM. Good luck spelling that one, Pacific, if you're still here. I'll do it. Yeah, Ctenophora. Like the jelly, yeah, with the silent C in front. I like the secret word emotes. Well, I mean, they're a secret until you learn them, right? Do you say Ctenophora? It's Tino because there is only one N. And like the word ladder and the word later in English, when we see a single consonant between two vowels, the first one becomes a long consonant. I know it's not English, but that's the way we learn to say words, so... I don't think it's weird. There's a rule. Following the rules. There's no rules for how to speak Latin, so... People can say it however they like. There's no right or wrong. It's a dead language. So if I speak it like it's English, then at least I have a rule. See how many of these things there are? They're all over the place in here. Oh, that looks like a good one. Where'd it go? You can see a ghost of a diatom right here. It's like a cuticula came off of the stub after it was sputter coated, or potentially before, but probably after. Thought it was clean, but still has a lot of dirt on one side. There's no rules for Latin. That's ridiculous. Nobody knows what it sounded like. Let's see. How would you say it in Greek? Bit. Tino or Tenno? See? Tenno? It's a giant Cirrella that we're imaging right here, if you're wondering. Oh, really? Cateno? Like that? Probably why we skipped it altogether. You can give it a try. What's weird about that sound? It's like a clicking insect sound. This is Cirrella. I think if you want to critique somebody's pronunciation, you had to critique the person who trained them, not them. Also, like I said, I don't think anybody's right. Closer to right doesn't count. That's a good one. That's a nominees. Kindness chittering. Well, just because students have critiqued your pronunciation of words, Anna, doesn't mean you should critique other people's pronunciation of words. As long as I understand somebody, I just assume close enough. There's nothing to wonder about. I just follow simple rules. C in front of T, you don't pronounce the C. You know, vowel, consonant, vowel, long vowel. There's no mystery. Except for, like, the word robin, which is a complete mystery. Should have 2 B's. Not my fault, though. I didn't come up with the pronunciation or the spelling. Phoenix. Exactly. I don't pronounce it Robin, yeah, which is how I would have pronounced it if, you know, like robot. If I had never heard somebody pronounce it before, I would have said Robin. For sure. Alright, let's jump over and look at some stuff from White Sands. I think that's this sample. This might have been sample 2. It's one of these really little skinny pleurosigmas that we saw when I was in this sample before. Super skinny. It's enormous, too. Yeah, White Sands National Monument in New Mexico. It's a happy little diatom. Wait, what is this? Cool story, Bob. I think I have one of these in here for you, Pacific. I got a bunch of secret words. It's grouchy, not grumpy. There you go. They have these new follower emotes that are coming out too. I don't know how soon before I'll actually get them, but... Any idea what this species is, Anna? You eating a nice Nitzia? No such thing. That one should have worked. Could be you have to spell it the incorrect way. Maybe it's the right way. I don't remember what I did. It's in there somewhere. Oh, yeah, that was it. You can say there's only Nitzioids in there. You love the oids. The oids are the best way to roll. Nobody can critique you if you go, oh, it's cycloteloid. It's staring at you, too. I'm gonna probably put this one on Instagram. This is a cool one. Yeah, it's pretty close to that. You can see some of the gypsum crystals in this. White Sands National Monument is known for its gypsum. As you can see, there's little gypsum crystals all over the place. These probably just crystallized out of the water, so they were probably things that crystallized after we made the slide, or while the stub was drying. In the actual sample that we prepped, a bunch of the gypsum crystallized out and was floating around in it, which is pretty cool. I guess it at least gets it out of the water. But it's kind of weird to have a sample with like a giant clump of gypsum in the bottom of it. See it all over these. Gypsum usually makes these sort of acicular minerals. It's a bit of a phytolith with a piece of gypsum on it. And you can see there's a crusty rind around the edge where a bunch of it's crystallized. You can see the evaporation droplet edge was right here, which is super cool. Having a hard time determining where it should put the brightness, but it was a little over brightened, so I think this looks good. Pretty cool. Again, you can see it was right where the edge of the... So when we put the sample onto the little stubs, they're like these things. We put a drop of water on there, or a couple of drops of water on there, and then basically some of the sample into it. And the meniscus, which is the, edge of the bubble of water, the surface tension bubble of water, is where all of the evaporation starts occurring, and the gypsum crystallized very early, so it created this basically little dome-like structure around the edge of the bubble, and then the water dried out. So you're seeing the gypsum crystals basically growing in the sample as it evaporated, right at the edge of the bubble, the water droplet. Exactly. It's another Fortress of Solitude picture from the gypsum. Sometimes Superman wasn't in the Fortress of Solitude. Sometimes he was out there saving people. Let's jump over to 6. More of the same. Let's see more of the same bubble rind. Not a lot of diatoms in these samples. Mostly mineral. And what's here is a little buried under the mineral as well. Let's take a look at 7 and then this one does have a lot of diatoms. Too many in some areas. Try to find an area that's not quite so dense. These are Diplonies. These are the little grouchies that we saw earlier. And there's a Mastigloia. These Diplonies. That's another Mastigloia. This is Elliptica, probably. I don't really see any internal views of the Mastigloias. Kind of wanted to get a nice shot of the internal view. Or there's an internal view, but the Protect is missing in some, I guess. Lots of peanut-shaped Diplonies. It's Epithemia of the Propylodia variety. See the Raytheon on that one. Clearly a navicula.
Well, pull up a chair.
Oh, thank you for the follow. How many species do you need to memorize for my work? Well, I mean, every project is a little different. Sometimes a project may have hundreds of species, and sometimes there may be, you know, a couple of Nitzia and some Planethidium thrown in there. But, I mean, to answer your question, a lot of times you can only, you can really only memorize so many species. So you just have to know where to find it, or know if you've seen it before sometimes, and then you kind of know where to find it if you've seen it before. Even if you don't memorize every one of them, you could at least go like, oh yeah, I've definitely seen that thing before. Ruslan, thank you. It is a little mesmerizing, especially if you haven't seen it before. I don't have them all memorized. In fact, most of them I haven't seen before. Given that there's 10,000 species in North America, and I also work in Africa, South America, Asia, and I think those are all the places that I work. Well, Central America, and so that's a lot of thousands of diatoms to memorize. I probably have a lot of them memorized, though, of the ones I've seen and identified, put a name on. Well, the scanning electron microscope can be kind of mesmerizing, and also what you're looking at is very, very small, but I guess I don't usually think of them as being alien. They were here before we were. But the SEM is definitely interesting view. Probably they will be after us. They pretty persistent in relatively extreme environments, so no matter what kind of damage we do to planet Earth, diatoms will probably still be around. You want me to do an Animaniacs version of the diatom genera names? I don't know if I can do that. I'd have to think it up first, figure out exactly how I would do it, and then do it. But if you give me a challenge like that, it may come out of my mouth one of these days. You never know. This is a Navicula. Yeah. We've just been looking at this tiny little piece of a Navicula. Now it's all over brightened. And I thought there was 3 Diplonies in here. So I kind of wanted to go hunting for other Diplonies, but these are the costi for this epithemia. And that's a Nitzia Sigmoidia right there. You see it's sort of S-shape. So a lot of these diatoms are things that we'd more frequently see in the marine world. See, it's sort of S-shaped right there as well. This long, skinny S-shaped thing is a Nitzia, which is similar to the diatom that Anna was talking about, that she's looking at. Probably something in the same. Let's see. This is long, skinny Pleurosigma. Here's another one. Very long, very big. Also S-shaped. One time we had a discussion about why are they S-shaped, and the answer is I don't know. Not sure what the advantage to being S-shaped is. See the raphy here, and then these are the thickened bands going across their costi, and then behind them somewhere are striae. I don't know if we can see the striae in here or not. Oh, maybe very faintly. And there's another little Nitzia right here. It's a little tiny guy. Which I will take a picture of, despite my interest in Nitzia, or lack thereof. Why not be S-shaped? I don't know. Why be S-shaped, though? Oh, the little holes are like vents? They kind of do seem like vents. Well, obviously, their DNA says S-shaped, but usually your DNA tells you to do something because there's an advantage to it for you. Otherwise, why do it? Yeah, it's getting close. It's my dinner lunchtime soon. Then I'm gonna spend the rest of my day reading a dissertation for my PhD student. I don't know about bumper stickers, but you can get all kinds of other stickers if you're interested in stickers. From the Redbubble site. This one. I uploaded some new SEM, I think one new SEM image recently as well. Just a few things that it's printed on, or printable on. Elliptica. It's Mestigloia elliptica again. Whole valves. No internal view. Still. Oh wait. That's kind of an internal view right there of the other Mestigloia. Ooh, that's pretty. I need to find one of these, but not covered with junk. External view, Mestigloia elliptica. It's an internal view of the Diplonese, the little peanut-shaped one. There's a bunch of those. Diplonese. Also Diplonese. you can see, they have really fine little striae made of multiple little holes. Okay. Let's see. It's the chill end of the stream. Yeah. You saw Waldo there. Maybe. It's totally possible. In there somewhere. Alright. I think this is the last image I'm gonna collect. And then we should raid somebody. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We got a resubscription from Pacific Plankton. And cheers from Rams Reef. And we got a new follow. So that's nice. Slowly building our way towards 2200. And thanks everybody for hanging out. And I'm totally unsure where to send people because there's nobody on that I'm friends with really, that I haven't just recently raided. Always fun to hang out. Thank you for streaming Amazing Microworld. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. And if you're interested in seeing other microscopic stuff, you should check out Pacific Plankton's stream for sure, and Dell as well. Both of those guys do some really amazing streams. And I didn't include OpenSet, but you should consider OpenSet as well. And those are all really great. And if you want to hear songs about diatoms, you should check out this song from Hannah Rebecca, where she sings about the actual SEM and the stream. Yep. And thanks to Pacific Plankton for moderating the channel, sending all those links for us. And I don't know, where should we go? We can raid Vicinia. We haven't raided her in a while. She's doing some digital drawing right now. And You were gonna stream, but then I saw me streaming. Well, I don't know. If you were planning to stream. I didn't realize you streamed stuff, Bit. But we'll raid Vicinia, and then next time you stream, we'll raid you, maybe. Just let me know you're gonna stream. Alright, so Vicinia designs as an artist. She does a bunch of digital art. She's really amazing drawing. And she always has no idea who I am, so. But she's part of the Artist Back Alley, and they did their raid train over the weekend. I don't know if she was involved with it this time or not. I haven't been in it since the first one, but I like to support the people who are on the Artist Back Alley streams. So, all right, that's it for today, and we'll catch everybody next time. I'll probably stream again on Wednesday, but I'm not positive, so we'll see. From the SEM, I mean. And if I get thunderstorms, maybe we'll get something sooner than that. All right. Later on. Enjoy.